If you're experiencing paranormal phenomena, the last thing you want to hear is, "Oh, that's just your mind playing tricks on you." That comes off as condescending or dismissive at best. If you're a paranormal investigator, that's the first thing that you want to consider, that the person's mind is playing tricks on him, because that's what the mind does. Now, I'm better versed in philosophy, but I did study evolutionary psychology for a time, and evolutionary psychology provides a plausible and likely explanation for a lot of the things that people call ghosts or hauntings. I'm going to spend time today discussing basic facts that every ghost hunter can benefit from. If you're new to evolutionary psychology, it explains how the development of human emotion, behavior, and most importantly, perceptions is tied to and dependent upon the way the brain, central nervous system, and things such as vision evolved. What does the evolution of eyes have to do with ghosts? Stop and think about the eye structure of something like a cow or a fly. God only knows what these creatures actually see or how it's processed internally, but the view's got to be pretty panoramic. Now compare that to the lowly human. We have triangulating vision. We don't see so well to either side, and our ability to see in front of us diminishes as an object gets further and further away. Hence, we have a triangular field of vision that gets increasingly less powerful as it trails off toward the horizon. Now imagine an early defenseless man seeing some orange and black stripy thing under low lighting conditions, off in the distance, maybe concealed by some bushes. That presents a real problem. It could be some sort of freaky vegetation, odd colored rock, or a tiger. Presuming this man understands the concept tiger, his brain may kick in where his eyes leave off. The brain may fill in the blanks, so to speak. Suddenly, the stripy thing has a hint of a tail, maybe some vague claws, a faint snout. This prompts the man to run, even though it was just a rock all along. The brain has essentially played a trick on the man that under the right circumstances could save his life by kicking him into flight mode. It's not hard to extrapolate that a modern man or woman with a healthy fear of ghosts may have a brain that fills in the blanks whenever a white sheet or cloud of smoke billows out in the woods on a moonless autumn night. Now, not only does our brain fill in the blanks, it's geared up to find faces. We can pick out face-like patterns from the get-go. Every baby store worth its salt stocks up on mobiles and bumpers and toys with black and white facial patterns. Why? Babies are highly dependent social creatures who evolved to pick out the faces of their loving mothers soon after birth. Later, as they explore their environment, they will delight in anything with a face-like pattern. The black and white contrast of the toys just makes it easier to spot. As we mature, the ability to read faces and associate emotions and intentions with those faces is critical to our ability to succeed and even survive in the world. Unfortunately, facial recognition can go awry. I constantly read ghost stories about menacing eyes in the backyard, scheming demon faces in wood or wallpaper, and hostile faces in flames. I highly doubt the wood, wallpaper, flames, or whatever it is in the backyard is going out of its way to be menacing. I doubt these objects have any intent at all. They probably aren't even faces, just a perceptual oddity attributable to evolutionary psychology. Finally, information overload is not just a today thing. Our senses provide a great deal more information than we could ever suspect. If we're ever going to be able to attend to ghostly forms in the bushes or faces in the flames, we first have to screen out the thousands of other perceptions that are vying for our attention at the same time. This is a function of the part of the brain called the thalamus. The thalamus keeps things under control by regulating what the individual is aware of. Damage the thalamus, and you have part 3 and 4 of Geistkraft 101, Ghosts and Mental Illness, and Ghosts and Medical Conditions. However, short of damage, this part of the brain and related structures, such as the amygdala, play a role in screening in perceptions that conform or support or even aggravate something that weighs heavily on our minds. Think of the day in your life when you're late for the all-important job interview. Every stoplight, car on the road, sight of a clock seems magnified 100 times. Your whole focus narrows down to the fact that you are late. Every perception you have points out that you are late. This is a screening in phenomena known as perceptual vigilance. Now imagine that you live in a drafty old house on a hill and you just read one too many ghost stories. There you go. Every groan, creak, draft. You've got a full-blown haunting, all right, in your mind. Finally, I've been discussing classic phenomena that are associated with hauntings, ghostly sights and sounds. However, the same psychological explanations can be attributed to another set of phenomena. Phenomena that usually occur after the death of a loved one. It's not uncommon for people to see butterflies at funerals or cemeteries and perceive them to be the soul of the loved one or a sign from the loved one. Flickering candles, flowers, blooming out of season, grandma's favorite song playing on the radio. If these events or things show up shortly after a death, on the anniversary of a death, or on a deceased person's birthday, those left behind may attach unusual significance to them. They are essentially chalked up as a friendly and even comforting haunting. In reality, these things may only be another manifestation of the same psychological artifact that allows us to detect facial patterns, but this time it's detecting meaningful patterns on a much broader scale. If you would like additional information, I encourage you to direct your research attention to pareidolia, the tendency to form vague patterns into faces and other meaningful forms, apophenia, the tendency to attach meaning to random or unrelated events, and perceptual vigilance. Next time, ghosts and mental illness.